property. It's just little things like that, that it looks like there's harassment going on. So it's not an issue for us. That's, if it gets out of hand, then the sheriff will have to deal. And the sheriff has been called out multiple times by the woman who's making the complaints.
But she never did make a formal application to planning and zoning.
No, she didn't. At least there wasn't anything. Well, I didn't think there was.
I had a text that apparently we lost our video, so.
Yeah,
my
Burns is over there. Good old Jordan's over there.
I just told him it seemed like it went down and working on it.
I'll just hand you guys these ones. He's getting that back up.
It should be ready.
We could probably go ahead and proceed though, can't we?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, is that all you have then, Clint?
It's the.
Oh, the report.
Yeah, it's back up now.
Is that all you have, Clint?
That's it.
Okay. Dorothy, do you have anything for
I
us?
don't have any.
Okay, brings us to a point where we allow public comment. If you have comments on anything that's not on the agenda, please feel free to do so at this time.
One question.
Yes,
Got a
sir.
hand up. The battery.
I'm re-going.
I didn't know if you were live or.
I was, and now I'm not, so I'm connecting now.
Okay.
Who's got their hand?
Deb Adams.
Deb, you have a comment?
Good morning, yes. I'm just curious what the status is of the website. Since I've been harassed by the Sentinel with my inquiries about the website, and it's still the old website. So I'm just wondering why there's a delay or what the problem is in getting a better website up for the county.
Jordan has just walked out of the room, so I do not have an answer for you at the present time. I know they were hoping to have it up, I thought by the end of last week, but I do not have an answer for you, ma'am.
Okay, I'm just paying attention.
All right, thank you. We'll see if we can check on that later.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none. We'll move on to the staff reports, and right on cue, we have HR showing up, so.
In finance, I hope you brought him. Yes, he's here too.
How are you? HR is easier to say.
Incidentally, since Braden's here, that letter I sent to the attorney, the official notice that the board was not going to participate in mediation. I sent that to Braden since he's our liaison with CTSI. So they'll know where we stand as well.
Yep. Yeah, so I think they have all the information they need at this point. All righty. Hope everyone had a great Independence Day weekend. And yeah, well,
It was very
jump
nice
into
on my end.
Good. So, first of all, I guess it goes without saying that some of the human resource issues that happened last month have slowed down progress across the board in my office. But that being said, there is some progress. Credit cards with UMB we're still working with them. Got an email from them this morning, and just trying to make sure that we've got that system totally polished before we try to do any sort of switch. Because right now, the current system is working okay. I did have a notice this weekend that one of the deputies went and the card was reported as lost or stolen and couldn't use it. And so they had to put about $1,000 on their personal card, which, you know, hopefully in the future they can reach out to me. They've got my cell phone and say, hey, what's going on? And maybe we can get that straightened out. But what's done is done, and we're going to try to keep avoiding pitfalls like that. So that's very, very much in the works, and I'm excited. He's the point of contact that I'm working with them is very much in the same line of thought where we don't want to have any questions before we move. I've explained our angst to him. So I think that'll look good once it gets going. As far as hiring goes for Director of Planning and Zoning, I sent out an email last week to all of the applicants and asking for them to come in to take the sanitation test. And so I do need to work on some of the logistics of that. I guess either with Carlin or with you, Kevin, or whoever we need to, however we need to do that. If that's a test that just needs to be proctored, I'm sure we can get that straightened out, but want to make sure we're doing everything we're supposed to be.
How many people
To make
make
sure.
applicants?
We have 3 applicants. Yeah. Yeah, and those all those applications were sent to you all. The question I had was, my thought was to have those tests this week. Possibly, I know the way it worked with Jackie was you could take it a second time before you had to pay again. Since we're not in that, since we're not really in that realm of things, it's kind of whatever we want to decide there is how that works. I figured it would be fine to allow a retake if we wanted to, maybe early next week. And then my thought being that we'd have interviews late next week. Don't know what.
The important
thoughts
thing
are
is that
there.
they pass it and they understand it.
Right.
And so if they're serious about doing it, they'll take it as many times as needed. Contractors are the same way. There's no limit on how many times you take it, because you've got to be able to know what you're doing.
Okay.
So if they're not paying for anything, I suppose we charge them maybe to take it after 3 times or something. I don't think we should.
So, yeah, probably the only difference being is that we decided we wouldn't charge for the ones that are
Correct.
applying for that position.
Right.
I don't think I would have a problem with them retaking the test either. Your thoughts?
I would agree. I don't think what we're talking about has anything to do with contractors. We're just having this discussion about the applicants, correct?
Right.
So, that sounds good. Later next week, I think works good. First part of next week wouldn't for interviews, but the later part would.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, that sounds good then. I'll move forward as I've intended. Having them take tests this week, if they need to retake, doing that early next week. And then.
So I guess
Looking
you
at
have a
like-
question. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You have a question as far as proctoring the test, whether we have like Jesse Guy do it, or if we just do it internally with someone
Right.
here. If it's just proctored,
Yeah,
all they have to do is make sure they don't have a book open in front of them, they're using their cell phone or something like that.
Right.
correct?
yeah. That's the way I understand it. And I, again, limited knowledge as far as how that process has worked in the past. I believe they would come in, they would sit there at the front desk and just take the test. And I guess when it was done, imagine Jackie had an answer key. That's where I don't know what happened. As if there's just an answer key that she'd go through and say, now you got 76% right or whatever. And then make a determination on the spot. Does that have to go up the line to somebody else to know that there's a certification? I don't know at that point. So,
Do you have,
I can clarify on that a little bit. There is a test with an answer key already filled out. I believe the number they can miss is 25 problems before they have to take the test again. And there's 100 questions total. It is not open book. They can take, if it's a contractor, they can take the test twice before they're charged again to take the test. And then there's a certificate in our office that we issue saying that they passed their contractor's dollar, they go in the system. And then there's our permitting system issues renewal letters when it's time, when their certifications get bigger.
Awesome. Okay.
Just a comment, a thought, with one exception, I wouldn't have a problem with Carlin if she's capable and willing to proctor that, but my concern is if she is proctoring it and then a customer walks in, certainly be a distraction to that, so I just soon bring in somebody, but if it's not that big a deal.
Where are they taking the test? What room?
I would say we need a room bigger than my office. We just gave a test last week that Jesse Dyke proctored. He's a contractor that has already passed his test. And it took that guy a little over 2 hours probably to take that test. And we just have to go in there, but a good quiet room where they can, because there are some essay questions that you have to expound on installations as well as draw a diagram
I agree.
of everything.
Would it,
Carlin can certainly proctor it. There's no rules that she can't. She can. But in the past, that was always the case in that office for others.
would the
If I do
director's
that-
office be adequate?
With which office?
Jackie's old office.
I don't think it's big enough for 3 people to take it at once. If it's. if
Oh, it
it's-
wouldn't be at once.
Oh, okay, I thought
imagine
you were
they'll-
bringing them all in on the same page.
No, they'll schedule one at a time.
So yeah, Jackie's office is sufficient, then we just shut the door.
That's all right.
So I guess that question then would be, do we try to get Carlin to do it? And her office has been extremely busy.
I would say
Yeah,
we
that's-
would have to close the office for me to
Right.
proctor the
Yeah.
test.
So, and you say Jesse did come in and proctor, that's the one that was wanting to do his own install.
Correct.
Did he charge for that?
No, and he goes, am I supposed to be charging for this? He goes, I
No.
don't really care if I do charge for it or not. And I said, I don't, whatever you want
So-
to do, Jesse, if you.
If they take a
need
couple
some
hours,
fees.
you have a comment?
Yeah, my view is, in the past, it's always been proctored by the tech or whatever. What do you call it?
I'm the clerk.
Clerk. And it was busy and we sat in, I sat in, actually in different places as people came and went, but we were in Jackie's office and Jackie was somewhere else.
Okay.
So it's not that difficult to proctor. Like, I think she can handle that and somebody coming and going.
And we could
'Cause they're
do
not
also where Lisa
Yeah.
drops by, checks every once in a while, something like
Sure you
that.
Are they allowed to have a cell phone when they take their test?
Doesn't sound like it.
They
Closed
can't
book.
have anything that they can use to look up the answer, because those books are all online as well on our website.
That's just what I was wondering, if we sent somebody in Jackie's office and closed the door, who knows?
Exactly, that's why we have Jesse proctor that last one.
So,
I mean, in the time that Jesse proctored that last test, I issued, what, 6
We were
permits?
both in there, yeah.
6 permits.
yeah, so it sounds to me like we ought to look for someone else to do the proctoring and find a location for that to happen.
I think we could put it in our side. We had a desk in there at one point that we brought in when CIC was originally here. We could close off our office and Lisa could continue working. And they can take that test on a little desk.
Mhm.
I think that would be fine. We can just move forward with that.
That works for me.
Good.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll plan on that. My question would be then setting interview times, or window with space, Thursday or Friday next week.
One works for me. Monday is not a good day.
Monday and Tuesday in the
Obviously,
spring,
Wednesday, We
so,
have commissioner meeting in the morning.
so next week is, will be 13th to the 16th. So the 13th is no good because we have a commissioner meeting, I think Thursday or Friday, either one would. 2 o'clock, we have an airport workshop on Friday. I have one down there.
I don't have one. No, we'll check
I
in.
must have got it on the wrong date.
Yeah.
I think you did. That was the other one we had earlier.
Okay. So I'm good for Thursday or Friday.
I do not want to do it Friday. Can't. I'll do it Thursday.
Okay, we'll plan on Thursday. And
Morning or afternoon.
do we have a preference to shoot for?
Doesn't matter to me.
Not to me.
Sooner the better. To get over with. How many we're gonna have? Maybe 3 most.
Yeah. So let's plan Thursday morning.
Okay. 9.
Mine's good.
Are you going to make a recommendation to us how many we interview, or what's your thoughts there?
One's not qualified at all. We need to know.
Right. Yes, I would make, in the event somebody was not qualified, I'd make a recommendation that we
Need to know.
not move forward with an interview. How does that need to take place? Do I just say that in the email and we're good with that, or?
Send us a note.
Yeah, I would be fine with just telling us, this is my recommendation. I think you ought to interview X number of candidates. What do you think?
I agree.
Ken?
That works for me, sir.
You agree?
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Great.
And who would be part of that process?
Yeah, one of the things that I mentioned in my email is I think it would be wise to bring Kristen in as part of the interview. If maybe not to, of course, not to make the decision, but I think just given her relationship with that position and the experience that she has having been doing that, I would submit that she's probably the most experienced knowing what that position does that we have here as a resource. So I think she would be a good person to have in during this.
Clint, that would be a closed workshop, correct? The interview candidate. Posted as such.
So we've done in the past.
But we probably should wait till we nail the time down. I'm assuming that would be somewhat dependent on the applicants and their availability.
Yeah. I think for now, we can hold it 9 o'clock tentatively.
You need an Indian time, we could go 9 to noon.
Yeah,
And that was Thursday.
Thursday.
14, yes. And we'd set the starting salary already.
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right. Any other questions, thoughts on hiring workshop? Is it okay to invite Kristen to
Yeah,
that?
I'm fine with that.
I think so.
Okay, great. All right, I will invite her and make sure we have everything we need for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And ClearGov, so our budgeting software, I've got a training this next Tuesday on that. They have got all of our data mapped over, so that's moving forward. And CIC, I've been working with CIC to try to get some things straightened out. There's some pieces of the software that we have not been able to use because we've not been trained on it, and yet we've paid for it for the last year. So I am asking them to give us a break on our bill this year for the things that we have not that we have not received over the last year,
Hmm.
as well as some of these bigger issues that seem to be coming up. I understand that there are bugs in a conversion process and it always takes longer than we'd like it to. But it seems like there's some things that are up and above that. And so I'm asking for a little bit of maybe reparation as far as that goes. But they have been very, very attentive to this last email that I sent in regards to the issues that we've had. And they've got some people working on things for us. So that's going well. Which leads me to my next piece about the auditor. We're behind as far as getting things to the auditor. A lot of that is somewhat departmental and mainly due to some discrepancies in CIC. And so we're trying to work through all of that. I went down on Friday and spent the day with them, going through as much as we could, and that was very productive. I'm planning to do that again this coming Monday, and then they're going to be here on site Tuesday.
Who's coming?
The auditors.
Both of them, or who?
I don't know. They don't know yet either.
They
So
weren't the same ones.
probably Sam, Andrew, and Nancy.
Okay.
So it'll probably be at least those three that come up, and they'll probably be here for 2 or 3 more days, as long as we continue to get them the documents that they need. So hopefully that will keep moving forward. I'll have a better idea of what I imagine we're going to have to file for an extension, which should not be an issue. It's just a quick sign off, I think, as far as that goes from, I don't know if it's just the chair or if it's from the board in general, but we'll cross that bridge as it gets here. And, yeah, anything in that line? Questions? Lastly, at our quarterly staff meeting, we had discussed the possibility of a 4-day work week. And so from that request, I will be giving a presentation on that tomorrow at the meeting, at our meeting. So
In what context are you presenting? Is it a consideration to do it, or just
Consideration.
discussion, or what?
yeah,
Consider you're making a proposal to actually have us approved doing that.
that would be, yes,
Okay.
You say at the meeting, do you mean the commission?
the
meeting?
commission. meeting tomorrow. And I'll have more information sent to you all today on that. Any other questions?
No, sir. I'm assuming that's on the agenda. I'm looking quick.
No.
I just added it right before 9, about 8:30. I added it this morning. So I was waiting to hopefully get a few more staff reports to send out the final for tomorrow.
Right, thank you all.
Very good. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah.
Thank you,
I'm glad you brought both guys.
Yeah. Yeah, this split personality comes in handy.
We don't know if we got Jekyll or Hyde, do
Yeah,
Yeah.
Not too late.
Not too late.
we? Oh, here's Jekyll here.
yeah.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning. How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Good.
What are you doing in here? Supposed to be on the road. All right, as soon as I get done, I'll be out there. Okay, I'm not gonna chip this year. I got a bid for 3.16 miles on Colfax, $90,000. That's just the oil. That doesn't include the chip, doesn't include my guys' hours and equipment hours. Asphalt's $95 a ton this month. It could go up next month. We will asphalt. We have to.
Yeah, you're losing the shoulders here.
Yeah, we got to do shoulders. And we may be looking at putting a bridge in on Schoolfield. I'm gonna get my waders on and crawl in there this week and see what's going on.
Where is that? How far down? Is
So
it? The big.
Yeah, Grape Creek.
Grape Creek.
Yeah. It's sinking.
full bridge or box.
A box
culvert?
culvert like we put on Hermit, and it's doubled in price.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And what size is in there now, diameter wise?
They're 6-foot pipes.
A couple, three of them.
Yeah.
Any consideration of a concrete box culvert?
Yeah, whatever the cheapest is, I'm gonna have to start working on grants and see what I can find.
Last time the grants were were hamstrung by them.
Yes.
And this was a lot cheaper route to get them, still make it happen.
Well, she can get the box culvert ordered. It just doubled in price.
You can get it ordered and hopefully you can get it delivered.
Yeah, that's another issue.
Yeah.
Your initial feeling is though that we need to probably replace it. huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna crawl in there and see. But I'm afraid it's sinking. It's rotted out. And we're gonna start magging next week, so
And equipment status?
one truck in the Springs. Will be home either today or tomorrow. And they should be all home again.
Good.
And then the one truck we took to Mac had work done on it, but Mac decided that they weren't gonna build road and bridge, so that was cleared.
Wow.
So it fell under warranty.
Kinda, yeah.
That works.
But they didn't bill us for any work, parts or labor.
Good.
So we're on that.
So just haul time.
Yeah.
Fuel.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna be getting gravel from another contractor here, another 30 days, Ed Lyons. 750 a ton. I got him down to 750 a ton.
Change the color of the roads.
Change the color of the roads.
That always.
And I'm gonna be hiring for Byron's position this month.
Because.
He's retiring October 15th.
Mhm.
Try to get a little overlap.
Yeah, training. Train the new mechanic.
Fuel system.
End of July. They still can't get parts. Our deadline, last week of July, they're supposed to start on it. Keep our fingers crossed.
Very good. Lacking quite a few parts or.
Yes,
I had to ask them.
yes. So hopefully by the end of the month, we'll have it started. So I'll notify everybody who uses it. They'll have to go somewhere else for a while, a week, probably a week.
And you'll work with Braden on the vacancy announcement.
Yeah. Yes.
We start putting rocks on the low spots across Horn Road in the bottom of the valley over there.
Rocks?
I know you're gonna do something.
Yeah, that's on the
softer.
next week. You know, we're gonna
And
build,
the other
we're
lower road.
gonna build the road up with grizz material with rocks and roll it in, build the road up, and then we're gonna cap it.
Been a long
I
time.
can't dig in that ditch because there's fiber.
It's just pushed out too far.
There's fiber in that ditch. I can't dig the borrow pit. It's right there. I don't want to hit fiber.
Yeah, they brought it up that.
Now you don't make enough money.
So we're gonna build the road up instead of digging ditches. And then we're gonna work on kettle too in August or
Kettle's the
September.
same way.
And this one,
And you're just pulling mud up too.
well, we're just gonna haul it off, dig the ditches out. It's gonna get hauled off. And then we're gonna build it up and cap it.
I'll do it.
Okay,
So you can haul your oil when you're patching then.
yes, and we're gonna have to come up
Texas
Highway
Creek.
50. Because I don't want the trucks on hard scrabble. If they get stopped, we could bust a clutch, we could twist a drive line, and we don't need that.
Mhm.
We'll have more miles, but no breakdowns as far as tearing the
Well,
trucks
you
up.
got two zones you're coming through
Yep,
with possible 30-minute waits. So
and we will start paving as soon as we get the mag done. It'll be a couple of weeks mag and then we'll start asphalting.
And you have a list of roads you're gonna
Yes,
pass on.
Rosita and Macy and Schofield and Copper, a little bit on Copper.
No new roads,
No,
all overlay.
Yeah.
Patch or shoulder?
shoulder work. Like, we've lost the shoulders on Rosita. Most of that road's gone on the shoulders.
Okay, I got something totally different for you. You are really familiar with Ruth Mitchell on that. You know the name? She is a person that lives in Silvercliff now, and like a lot of retired people and veterans, et cetera, depend on free TV.
Oh, we're having problems with it. Yeah, we checked it. And every time I go up and check it,
They're
it's
only
good.
getting one channel, and that's been the case for the last year. They claim channel 13. And I was gonna mention it to you, just got the note from her. Maybe you've been included on the.
I have not, but I will speak to some of that. The last 6 times I have reached out to both of the gentlemen from channel 11 and channel 13, I have gotten 0 response.
They're obligated to do this.
And my
Part of
last
the
email
FCC.
to them actually stated, I wanted them to tell me what it looked like when Custer County was no longer able to fix these, and I got no response back from them.
They got it.
I'm looking for that now.
Yeah, every time I go up there and check it, I've got 25% on the box and the green light's on. It's not tripped.
It's not right working.
And it's very difficult for us to get parts. They were going to put new translators in. My last email was sent 6/8/2022. Hello, gentlemen. I am reaching out because I have not heard back from you on where we are on this project. I am concerned that nothing is going to move forward. My question is, what happens when the county is no longer able to maintain the repeaters? I believe we are rapidly approaching that time. I would appreciate your responses. We have offered the low to no cost lease, the dirt work from the Road and Bridge Department, and I thought had addressed your concerns, but have been unable to receive anything back so we can move forward. Thank you for your attention. And that was sent both to Daniel Bay and I forget Mr. Fleming's first name, Chris Fleming. And I received no response. That's been the case for the last at least 3 to 4 emails that I've sent.
This is time for
Yeah.
a meeting.
So when they first were approached, they were gun ho for this, and they even came out and looked at the site.
Yeah, it was there. Everybody.
And so now all of a sudden, it's just like they jerked the reins back very, very hard, and now I can't even get responses from them.
Yeah, I had a friend 2 weekends ago. Him and his wife brought their RV up. He told me he had 7 channels on his antenna on his RV.
Depends on how high up he was.
When he was at my house. So
It might work.
he was pretty impressed. So I'm surprised to hear that we're having issues, but
Yeah, I'll go up and check it again, but like I said, most time I go up there, all the green lights on, the percentage is right there. It's not tripped.
The last time we had to get parts for that, he found some finally in Springs.
Yeah, we have a gentleman right now that repairs that, but he told me last time we was up there, that's gonna get hard to get parts for this system. And he's the only one I know of that can fix it.
yeah, I wonder if, and I had this conversation with this friend that stayed with me because he lived here. And every time he'd call me and complain, I said, well, are you sure your equipment is functioning properly? So,
Gonna have to have
Be one or
somebody,
the other.
maybe you get an appointment with his admin to have you personally seen him. You know, it's can't avoid it.
they're in the Springs,
Possible.
both of them.
Yes, one at channel 11 and one at channel 13.
Nothing else, get it checked up there to see what's going on. Each of them.
I'm wondering about when people call in on their television, that we give them channel 13 and channel 11's phone numbers. rather than road and bridge,
Do that.
because,
Yeah, probably be a good idea.
And then Daniel will call me.
well, it might get the fire started.
That's part of it. You should do that. That's part of the deal.
And I can send them an email and tell them that we will start sending complaints their direction.
Sounds good to me.
And because we're no longer able to take care of these systems.
They're outdated.
Yep.
And they're not legally bound to provide that service, right? That's just a marketing thing for them. And
I
No,
believe
they
that they
are.
are legally
They are,
bound
Tina.
to provide free television service
Oh.
to
Yeah.
the viewing area, and which includes this, even though it's hard to get it here.
That's right.
That's why they were willing to take them over.
That's why they were glad that we were doing it.
So I will reach back out to them if that's fine with everyone here then, and tell
I
them
would get
we'll
mine.
start giving their telephone numbers out.
Yeah. Get personal phone calls set up.
Any other good news?
No, everything's fine. We're gonna put some gravel out there at the recycling center next week.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Yeah, those folks were very impressed from the state, so.
Cool.
Hey Vince, I didn't hear you mention 255. Are you doing mag flow right there too?
Yes. From Chip all the way to the county line.
Okay.
All three major roads, 255, Rosita, Copper, and then branch off.
I became county attorney 8 years ago just to get the road paved in my place, and I still haven't gotten anything.
It'll be magged.
It's pretty good, actually.
All right, Sheriff.
Alrighty,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
See
you.
Vince.
See ya.
If Jared's out there, if Jared's out there, you might send him in. You need a break.
There, he's here.
I just sent you a
Least amount
text,
of time in here
Kevin.
possible.
I just sent you that text. Bruce.
Okay.
See, I still want to talk to you. I
Okay.
haven't been able to hook up. in a while. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Well, have a good holiday.
Yep.
I'm sure everybody
So far.
that's sat in the seat have asked you that same thing.
Well,
You're
Generic
You're only
pleasantries.
the third one that's had so far this morning.
did you?
It was not bad. Thank you. It was good. No, it was good. So there's one thing that I did want to bring up today. We don't have very much to chat with you guys about, but I was able to speak with Commissioner Day about this last week, and then Commissioner Flower actually earlier this morning. We chatted about it briefly. And a few months ago, I had mentioned to you all that I got some funding kind of through a collaborative partnership between Kirkpatrick Bank and Mount Carmel. I don't know how familiar you are with Mount Carmel, that Veteran Resource Center. We chatted about it a little bit. It's a pretty large nonprofit that's really dedicated, like specializes in veteran resources. So they house VSOs in their building, mental health counseling, social services, financial assistance, kind of anything. They also deal with active duty as well. And within Mount Carmel, they have a program called Veteran Connections. And it's a kind of a separate pot of money that's designed specifically for individuals and entities that want their money to go directly to helping veterans, not towards building maintenance or business operations, but specifically to help vets. And it was a highly successful program in El Paso County. And part of that Kirkpatrick money that came down to us was through Veteran Connections, but it was part of a pilot program to kind of put it into rural counties in Colorado to help the rural veteran population. So they started out with like $5,000 of seed money just to see where it would go. We ended up in my office, we got that money in February. I was pretty frugal with it because it was only $5,000. But we ended up helping a total of 56 veterans through $5,000. We did some propane bills that had been backed up for quite a while. We did some emergency cords of firewood to some people that needed it. We did rental assistance. We helped a vet with a vehicle repair that was previously homeless. And I think it kind of helped keep him off the street so he could continue to work and live in Custer County. And we covered funeral expenses for a vet that had passed away in Custer County. His family didn't have the ability to have a service or cover the cremation. So we did that. And then I bought half a cow, and I've been able to feed a lot of vets too and give them some fresh meat. So that was just with $5,000. And then a couple of weeks ago, I went to Colorado Springs and I met with the CEO of Mount Carmel and 2 representatives from Kirkpatrick Bank to talk about more funding. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on the first try. And one of their reservations and hesitations was that they wanted to see some buy-in from the county before they would continue to essentially fund a government-run position in office.
Buy-in in what context? Think it's a
Monetary.
great idea or half the cost?
Well, monetary. I mean, they liked the idea of what it was able to do, and we want to do more. And we never shook hands on it, but we kind of beat around the bush of, I think that I could convince Kirkpatrick Bank to do a dollar for dollar match. I think if the county could come up with $10,000, I think that they would match it and get me $20,000. And I think with $20,000 allocated specifically to helping veterans in need in that office would put a pretty big dent in some of the issues that we face in Custer County.
So what are you looking for? 10,000?
I would love to get $10,000.
5 each or 10?
I would like for the county to give 10, and
You
then
want $20,000 total?
yes, 10 from the county. And then if I could get Kirkpatrick to back it up with 10 through the Veteran Connection Program and fund the office with $20,000.
No guarantee on their end.
Not a guarantee yet, but I think from the conversations we had a very long meeting about it, and that was one of the hesitations was they don't mind helping, but again, they didn't want to fund it 100% with their private money. Which the more that I've thought about it post meeting, I understand where they're coming from, and I agree with that. And I would hope that, I know that it's out of.
So is it
out of
only
cycle.
Kirkpatrick money or is it both Mount Carmel?
It'll just be Kirkpatrick money. So the way it kind of works is they fund that Vet Connection program. And so it kind of funnels through Mount Carmel. And then I just write the invoices back to Mount Carmel, and then they actually cut the checks. And we still have, the Veterans Trust Fund grant that's managed by the VFW. I mean, that's a great grant, provides a lot of services for veterans in the community, but there's a lot of restrictions to it that the state won't allow us to
Can't
do.
use it as a match.
Yeah. And we can't, like, if somebody comes and they need something for their home, whether it's like a washer and dryer, we can't cover that because it's home improvement. And they look at that as you can't do that.
As
It's home
opposed if you didn't have one at all.
Yeah. But with the Vet Connection program and with that money, it's 100% at my discretion.
So I think you even said hot water heater or something would be considered home improvement.
Yep.
And so if the hot water heater went out, they couldn't even do that.
Yeah. So it gets really difficult of what we can use those things for. And, there's people in the community, here specifically that are off grid. So buying a generator is something that is really hard to do through that VTF money. So it's a big pool of money, but it's somewhat limited as to what we can use it for. And I don't administer those funds. That comes from a VTF grant administrator. So everything has to go through them, and their payment program can be lengthy. So some vendors don't really want to work with us because it might take a month for us to cut them a check, and that, it's not a good way to do business. But with this Vet Connection money, it's usually that week or even that day. Sometimes they have a check cut and going out. So it's used for more specific veteran needs. And I think if I can serve 56 veterans with $5,000, I mean, if we have $20,000,
You get a whole deal.
yeah.
So if we committed dollars to this, would those go to Carmel or to your office or? how?
And the way that it's set up right now is, it goes to Mount Carmel, and it's almost kind of, I don't know, I guess kind of held in trust. And that would be something that we could talk about with Braden to see, because it's a private public partnership. So I don't know exactly how that works, but I know they're expanding this out into other counties. They use Custer as just a small pilot program to go, hey, this is what we could do. And I know that it's in Pueblo now.
Seems like if we're the government agency and the government agencies treat us like you spend it, we'll reimburse you. So if you have it set up for 10,000, then they go ahead and grant the money and then would send the invoice to us to pay after the fact.
I mean, we could.
I mean, that's how.
I don't really care like who handles the money as long as it's specifically earmarked towards. And I know that the county would.
I know you don't.
You would need
I'm not
that
challenging.
documentation.
Yeah, it's just a way of guaranteeing the government. That's what the state does to us.
Yeah, that your dollars are getting spent.
Right, the way you said it was going to be.
In the proper way. Yeah, and I think, those details are not above us to hash out and figure out if I can get the buy-in from Kirkpatrick.
Might even work to where it was billed out and county pays half and they pay half or something like that. I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Like you say that you don't care as long as
the need is met. That's really what
Sounds like though Kirkpatrick gives their money to Mount Carmel.
they do, because it's part of their veteran connection program. And then the idea is Mount Carmel will then establish almost like these little satellite. I think what would actually be really beneficial is for Bob McLaughlin, the CEO of Mount Carmel, to come down here and meet with you guys too. I know they just did it in Pueblo County and met with the local government there. And I know that they anteed up quite a bit of money to the Vet Connection program to help veterans in Pueblo County. So, maybe that's a meeting that we could potentially set up and bring him down here and he can kind of give you the fine details of that program and how it works with other county governments in the state.
And after we met, I was thinking as well, we do have some of our ARPA dollars left. And I did have Dorothy putting together some figures. And not counting that was turned back, that big chunk that was the sheriff's office is going to use. It looks like we have 17,741.51.
I'll take it all.
Available for multiple.
I don't think that was.
You should have led with that.
I don't want to hide how much we have, but yeah. So personally, I think it fits the criteria that we need for those ARPA dollars, because you can't say that they weren't affected by the COVID at all. And I think it would be very beneficial. So personally, I would be in support of funding this through some of that ARPA money. Because we're right in the middle of our budget, so this is a non-budgeted expense, and it does fit the criteria to use those dollars.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, Mr. Chairman. I think that'd be a excellent use of some of that carryover or leftover ARPA money. If we don't spend that money, we're gonna have to send it back. So I don't know if you're looking for a motion, Mr. Chair, or not.
And I can track the metrics on it too. We can go specifically like how many vets we help, what specifically we help them with, so that money is trackable and accountable.
Well, it even meets the criteria we put in there as far as leveraging the money, because you would be using it as basically a match for another $10,000 grant.
I move we earmark $10,000 out of the ARPA balance to go to the Veterans Connection program. And I believe that money should go to Mount Carmel.
I'll second because I want to talk about it.
Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to authorize $10,000 out of the ARPA funds to go to Mount Carmel for the Veterans Connect program to help our local veterans office serve veterans. Is that a good statement?
Yeah.
All right. Discussion.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing too. What I don't know though is if it meets the criteria exactly, because it's an economic recovery. And not necessarily, it's related to COVID, but what did COVID do to cause Mark Carmel or our Carmel not to have the money to do things with? So I want to make sure it actually does meet it. And that might be a good reason to have it looked at. What's the priority? If there's some other people that we didn't fund, how do we prioritize what we haven't spent it on already? That over some other needs, and that would be a question for maybe the reinstatement of the group to take a look at it and see, or us, have it presented to us, and then make that formal, make sure we're clean. That's the whole point. So we don't want to.
Is your worry that it's routing through
No,
Mount
Not at
Carmel
all.
and then it looks like we're paying them and then,
no. Remember I said, we can set the criteria up so that we're assured that they're gonna spend it the way they are, just like we did with our ARPA stuff.
Okay.
It's just, it's for it's the seed money to keep things going as well. And that's the neat thing about the match grant. That was one of the things we thought was a good thing. We just want to make sure we don't catch any flack, that we make sure that we can use the ARPA money, and maybe we can. I think it's a good thing we can do it with the budget process and put it in. How soon do we need it? You know,
yesterday.
Well, that's the truth anytime. So can it wait?
I mean,
We're
it
gonna
can
be setting up a budget also.
it can, I mean, we can wait as long as we want, right? I mean, the only people that suffer are your veterans.
Right.
I
Oh,
mean,
no, I
that's,
don't want to look at it that way. We want to do the right thing for veterans. There may be a veteran out there that's in bigger need that put in a request already that we denied because we had it prioritized against other things. So I don't know for sure, Jared. I agree with you. I like the concept. I
yeah.
think it's a good one. And I'm surprised we hadn't gotten involved sooner. I don't know why. How long has this been going on that we didn't know about it?
I mean, we didn't start, I mean, I started talking to them probably in December, January.
Mhm.
And then I think we finalized it in February that they would funnel down $5,000 as a pilot.
But I mean, they've been doing it apparently with Kirkpatrick for other counties or other places, right? Other veterans.
It originated in El Paso County.
Okay.
So that was kind of the first place and it flourished. They did really well. And since it's done well, they've seen more of a need in like the rural southern Colorado counties.
Yeah, I really want to help.
So we were the first one that they reached out to because of our large veteran
Yeah.
population and somewhat close
That would be why
proximity
it
to
ought to
Colorado
be
Springs.
prioritized with us for sure.
Yeah. So, and I know that we were the first to even try it, and then it's just went into Pueblo County, and they've started to funnel money into the Veteran Connection Program down into Pueblo County. But outside of that, there are no other
this-
counties.
This is the first we've heard of it as a group. It's the first the county's had it introduced to anybody, and maybe I don't know if it's the right process to do. If you want to vote to do it today without it on the agenda, that's something to consider.
Well, I certainly agree with your statement. When you say you want to help veterans, I think here's an opportunity
Good
for us to
opportunity to
do
do
that.
Yeah.
And you reported back to us on this whole program in March or April
Yeah.
about that contribution. So I don't have any question that the ARPA money, in my opinion, is exactly what we should be using that ARPA money for.
I agree, except if we already had something prioritized that didn't get funded, that might be
Well,
a
we
bigger.
don't, or we
I don't know.
probably funded it, right?
I don't know, no, because we ended up not funding a part of other things that fell through. And there were other things that we didn't fund because we don't know what they
I
cut
thought-
back.
Can I say?
Yeah,
something?
go ahead.
It was my understanding that those that the committee declined didn't meet the
Criteria at all. Yeah.
in one way or another. And I have, would you?
Okay,
like
no,
to
that's
see-
okay. That helps a lot.
And I mean, I just think, I mean, if you extrapolate out 56 veterans with $5,000, I mean, now you're helping
Sure.
a
I
huge
agree with
swath
that. I agree 100%
of
on that.
people. And I think you should,
I'll make sure we had a good conversation about it.
yeah,
That's good. And
That's why we vote. That's why we had a motion.
oh, yeah. Yeah, no, y'all are the ones that are accountable to everybody else.
I would reiterate, I think I think it would be a very good use of these funds. And it gives him an opportunity to double that money to be able to use that. And it shows, it shows the ones, Carmel and Kirkpatrick as well, that we don't just sit here and say, well, we got a lot of veterans and we're really proud of them. That shows that we're actually doing something.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I think that's
so,
big.
and
And then it'll be, you know, it's our money and then, you know, the VTF grant, like, we just have to deal so much with the state about, I mean, you almost feel like you know, you're a peasant to them of like, this is what you, and
So
that would be
So
our
in the
money.
end, then we need to set up the process. So
Mhm.
if we agree to do this.
Okay.
It's not just, all right, go off and do it. Let's get them in here and let's figure out how. we're gonna
100%.
make it count.
So who's my POC for that? Do you all want a meeting with
I'm the VSO
with
rep.
with
So
all?
Let's get it
Okay.
here and I'll bring it to the board as needed.
Okay.
I like your idea of bringing
Bring in some
Carmel.
representatives from
Gotta have it.
Carmel.
So let's talk about it. Let's see what they'll agree to first, and then we'll make that proposal.
Okay.
Bring it to the board.
So is this like a tentative yes?
No, we haven't voted yet.
Okay.
So, well, I think if we pass this, that we would like to, for you to set up a meeting
Contingent
with
upon
that.
it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it'd be better,
Carmel and-
best for all
Work with
parties.
me to get it set up.
Okay.
And we'll put it on the right agenda to get it.
And I'd be good with that. Any other discussion? Anything from the floor? I have no hands up on the computer.
Well, we don't normally take public comment on
This is
motions
just a-
arising out of staff reports.
Okay. Those in favor then of supporting the VSO with $10,000 for a match with the Veterans Connect program to help our local veterans
Using ARPA money.
using ARPA money.
And I would hesitate about the match. We don't know that for sure. We're
Okay.
committing
10,000.
10,000 to go into the Veterans Connect Fund, whether it gets matched or not,
That is true.
is the way I see it. We hope.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put
No,
the cart in front of the horse and say that it's a done deal. The meeting that we had, I felt fairly
And-
confident
And
leaving
if
that
they
meeting.
don't end up matching it, we don't want to sit there and dangle that in front of you, then jerk it away either, so. So let me restate my voting question here, that those in favor of using $10,000 out of our ARPA funds to go to the Veterans Connect program in support of our veterans, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sounds good. So if you could work with Bill and
I will.
get that set up and stuff, and so we can figure out the logistics, that would be great.
All right, I will start on that today. Scott.
And I would move we accept his report for the month of June.
I'll second.
Did I get the date right on that one?
No,
It's just June.
You didn't put a date on there.
So
so
you
I'll
got
just put it,
right.
I'll just put it in by pin. then.
I'll sign it. I'll sign it as soon as
month of June.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to accept the veterans report for the month of June. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Grand Glorious Day.
Tom did. I second.
Yeah, I think back to the other thing, that gives you the ability now to say, yes, the county has committed the dollar.
Yeah, I think so. I think it just gives us a bargaining chip at the table to
We'll set up.
to lean on them and see if we can.
Is there a fire in here? You smell smoke?
Let's see, Kelly, do you need a copy of this?
I can scan it and email it
Yes.
too.
So I just put my signature. I'll let you fill in the other boxes.
You want me to scan it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, the last one.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you guys.
You bet.
Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep, good job.
I'll be in touch.
Yep.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I got a couple of really nice winter coats. I would like to donate. You got some veterans that could use some.
Winter clothes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, just get with me anytime and
I think just, okay, maybe tomorrow I'll swing by.
I'll take them off your hands. Thank you.
He's a good, yeah.
Do you
Have a good
know,
day.
do we have anyone coming down from upstairs from extension?
I'm not aware. Haven't talked to her. I'd say just move on. Unless, well, sorry.
I guess if she shows up later, we'll stick her back in.
Unless we want to reach out to her real quick, but that's our.
If you don't mind, if you would reach out, I would,
But we can go ahead with P and Z and.
and then put her in, yeah.
welcome, since she's been
So
here.
Carla, you are up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. How are you guys?
Okay,
Everybody had a good
yeah, how about
weekend?
you?
Treading water.
Doing a good job of it. too.
So you guys each have a report in front of you. We issued 23 septic permits, 17 dwelling permits, 17 non-dwelling, for a total of 34 permits issued in
The month
June.
of June, yeah,
Um,
crazy.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I did pull a quarterly because our quarterly outs, which is porta pots on job sites. And, or I'm sorry, it's the $20, it's on all septic issues, the $20 that goes up to the state. So for second quarter, there were 40 permits issued, up from 20 on the first quarter. And then per Kevin, I have a couple of things to bring to the board. While you guys are still in the search for a new zoning officer, and probably certainly while that person is undergoing their training and learning their position, I would like to request working on a time that we could close the office, maybe by even 2 o'clock each day, to all walk-in traffic, to allow me the opportunity to catch up on the paperwork that's stacking up, process all the mailed-in permits, as well as returning. Right now, Dorothy's been coming over and at least fielding the phone calls as much as she can. And that does help, but I come in anywhere from 6 to 7 in the morning, usually between 6 and 6:30 right now, trying to just catch up.
Say the request, close the office at 2 on every day?
Yes.
Or every other day? Or
Every day for paperwork processing.
Yeah, I think we need to do what we can to get through this transition period and help you out. I don't know if we can get a message on the phone system to say the office will be closed from 2 to 4 until further notice, or it would be an IT question, I guess, but
I would think they would be able to put that on. I don't know that for a fact, but
Yeah,
certainly could put a notice on the door.
okay.
I know just, at the times that I've been over there is about the time Carlin starts to be able to talk to you about an issue or something. The phone rings, somebody walks in the door. It seems like it's been extremely busy this last month. Maybe because everybody just wants to see if she can keep treading there or something. I have no idea, but
Shoulder it all or not, yeah.
Testing.
and
I think so,
so, quick question.
yes.
Dorothy, what are you doing when you help her? Are you going over there every other day? How are you helping her now?
I'm helping her whenever I'm not busy here.
Yeah, what do you,
And-
which means going over to her place and answering the phone or
Answering
what?
phones, speaking to the people that are coming in, doing as much as I can to help her out.
Okay.
Yes.
Then is it possible then that the phone be forwarded to you instead of to a voice that says we're closed. And you could take the call just to tell them they're closed for X processing, but at least somebody's talked to somebody. Because they're gonna be calling in, we're gonna get, I've had complaints about the office not being,
And
And I know you
certainly,
have.
I imagine you are getting complaints because I would say the phone rings on average
keeps
about
ringing.
25
yeah.
times in a 10-minute
Mhm.
span. You can't, there was one day last week, I had 4
Yeah.
separate people waiting for multiple permits, was on the phone, was dealing with one permit, and finally, you finally have to get to a point you can't answer the
I
phone.
believe, I'm not arguing. that. So if they did that, would that be really disruptive in what you're doing in here or not?
Usually I finish up what I'm doing here and then I go. over.
Right, so that you
Yes,
don't
I
have to
could
get
send
up.
the calls here if that would be more beneficial. I can't.
They gotta be more user friendly from a county point of view rather than, I mean, when we shut down,
Would that have to be done
What's-
daily and taken off daily though?
I don't know. I think that's an IT.
What's that look like as far as being able to answer some of the questions where you're not over there?
You see,
To
There are
check
some
with-
things that I don't have an answer to and I.
you just say they're closed, you
So-
can't answer, right? If that were the case. But other than that. Gives them,
I have
at least
a-
gives them a feeling.
I have a message on my phone that says if we're not answering, it's because we're busy and we cannot
Cannot
answer. Leave
answer
a
the
message
Yeah.
and we will get back to you.
Sure.
And
Something
most
like that
people
could be
leave
done.
a message.
That would be another way to handle it. Good way.
Yeah, I think the most efficient way is just to put a message on there and say you're close from 2 to 4. and
Get back to you. Leave a
Leave
message.
your number. That's where I would.
I think you
and I'll
need to do that.
support
You
the
got-
idea.
Yeah, I do
don't
too.
know
The
if
paperwork's
they
gotta
will or
be, you gotta stay up with it.
Yeah,
Otherwise you have no idea where you're at.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. My piles are starting to grow
Mhm.
a little bit.
Shuffle them around a little bit, mix them together. There you go.
Along with some of those changes, the outs language. We've had one situation that came up that sent us looking for more information. Our interim inspector charged a modification on a septic, which, I mean, they were bringing in quite a bit of line and tapping into the original existing septic for a barn bathroom. Contractor disputed it somewhat. Eventually, it was the inspector kind of held his ground that it was charged. But both in the state and in our county outs books, there's not good clarification of what we're calling a modification or repair. And
Modification
we
was
do
a new
charge for
bathroom
those.
put in, that's not a modification. Was that what happened
So a bathroom is being put in
in the barn?
the barn,
And they're tapping into the septic.
tapping into the originally inspected septic as it was, ran decent amount of line to it to tap into it.
Mhm.
So, which requires another inspection.
We
Right.
voted on it, charging $150 to modify it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the argument was.
Yeah, what is the argument?
Their argument was that it was not a modification.
What is a modification?
Exactly. There's no language in our
Zoning resolution that speaks to what
that
is and
speaks
isn't a modification.
specifically to what it is.
Yeah, but the regulations specify that it's a 2-bedroom house or the septic
But a
system
bathroom's
size
not a
for,
bedroom.
doesn't matter. There's bathrooms. If you had 6 bathrooms, and no tubs and no bathtubs and everything, it would be sized differently than it would be if it was a bathroom or 2-bedroom. See, they're using the bedrooms as the size.
Exactly. 2
Mhm.
bedrooms, 2 people per bedroom would be a
Mhm.
4-person septic.
Right.
Well, if they
1,000
do
gallon
anything
tank.
to their septic system, in my
It's a
opinion,
mod.
it's a modification.
Exactly.
It is.
I'm
So,
glad he stuck to his guns.
Yeah.
so I'm just saying, I think that we can clarify that and make it very black and white, so there isn't a place for dispute moving forward. And I think that certainly will make your next zoning officer's job and their ability to smoothly move into that position a little better.
That's about a 3-month process to amend this zoning resolution again, so.
So, yeah, I didn't, just for you guys to think about on that.
I do know that in the past, because this is a personal experience, a mod, in changing and digging another trench for, because the existing trenches were plugged up or whatever, is a modification. Doesn't matter what bathrooms you have. Same with this one, you're digging a whole new
That's the way
system
we.
at the right, has to be meeting criteria and it has to be inspected.
That's the way we saw it as well. But like I said, there was a contractor dispute. That
There should be.
particular contractor was gonna continue that
And how do
dispute
you
for a
know that it
while.
met the criteria so it would drain properly? You gotta check it. And it
Exactly.
costs money to do.
So that's why I'm just asking for clarification within the manuals that the contractors are following to speak specifically. Even our application or permit applications are not clear as to what those are exactly. And then finally, also per Kevin's recommendation, I did reach out to Planning Commission for a meeting or workshop, whatever they want to have, in order to get to meet them all, two, to get some clarification on some of their expectations of our office, because that's one area that I was not able to get training in before Jackie left. And three, to talk to them about being able to pick up some of that load, because we are so busy with permitting, especially on these short-term rental applications. Some of their requirements that they put into place are taking some legwork to follow up on and a lot of time. So certainly if their commission's willing to step up on some of the things like notifications and walkthroughs or something, I actually can't even do myself because I'm not the officer.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of that will be dealt with if and when we hire a director, but
Correct. In the meantime, we do have some short-term rental applications coming in. And because they've changed that resolution to a first come, first serve, I date and time stamp them when they do come in. So that if we have multiple on any one day, they're in order by the time received.
Yeah.
Carolyn, when's the next meeting? Is it next Monday or not till August?
On the planning commission,
Yeah,
that I'm not sure about. I'll have to go back
Okay.
and look. I believe they communicated all of that to Jackie. And so,
like she kind of set it up, and I'm showing July 11 in my calendar, but I think she told me we weren't going to meet again until August. So clarify that for me, because and any meetings with the planning commission, I want to be in on that as well.
okay. Yeah, I can certainly get a hold of them and ask for their meeting schedule going forward.
How's Vic doing?
good. Keith Hood's the vice chairman, correct?
Yeah, and most of my communication has been with Skip and Vic to date. But that's why I would like to have a little bit of a meeting with the whole board, because they both seemed a little overwhelmed with things.
Yeah, and well, and Jackie had her role, through her own actions, had expanded into a whole lot more than it should have been. So we need to get that spelled out again and back off what the role is of the planning and zoning director, not running the show for the planning commission, just preparing things for them. But anyway, but I guess right now Keith should be the go-to person. And Skip doesn't have any, other than having been there a long time.
Remember, but yeah,
And currently Skip's been the one that I've been talking to the most.
As long
So
as you got
that's,
somebody.
they've been.
these are all
hands-on.
things I need
Yeah.
to to get clarified.
Yeah, well, Keith is the vice chairman and probably at least needs to be in the loop and reached out to.
And that's,
Lord knows what
that's
his
good to know.
daily
That's
schedule looks like. you know.
something I didn't even know yet, so.
I don't think we need to circumvent Vic, but I don't think we need to be piling this all just on him.
Correct. And there's multiple members of the board through hearsay that have said, we'll absolutely take more responsibility. It's just a matter of getting it lined out, who's gonna do what.
And maybe a workshop with the commissioners and the planning commission
Might be a good
and have
idea.
a good conversation about the direction and responsibilities. They don't have a secretary, so that's a hole in their process. I would support that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just,
the
mostly I wanna
joint-
be on the same page and brought up to speed while I'm the one that has to be dealing with this stuff.
I see
So,
a couple of responses here. Excuse me for interrupting.
no, go ahead.
That you got back to your email
Okay,
stating that they, from a couple of members that said they could make it on the 11th. Because that was their normally scheduled meeting, but they weren't meeting then.
okay.
That being said, as a commissioner, if we were gonna be involved, I cannot make that date.
And I'd only be available in the afternoon.
And I did request for a meeting after 4:30, so that doesn't affect office hours.
We're about to 12.
I would be back later the day, the 12th. I'm up there,
4:30 or 5 on.
yeah, because her treatments are in the morning.
I'll make that work.
But I don't know if you need to meet with them to begin with and then meet with the commissioners and everybody, or just set something up with everyone.
I just as soon set it all up and hear from everybody at the same time, so everyone's on the same page, if that's okay with you guys.
That works.
Why can't we do it on the 14th? What's the reason for that? We're coming in here for,
Well, we're trying to target the 11th because that's when they were,
Wow.
or close to the 11th, because that's when they had indicated they could, right?
Yeah,
So we're set up for our interviews in the morning on the 14th. So I could do later if,
14th.
excuse me,
I
if your
can't do the
commission
12th.
can do it.
okay.
But you guys want to do it without me, it's okay. Catch up.
I
So
think
what,
they'll all be there.
Afternoon the 14th,
Yeah, 13th or 14th, either one.
13th, yeah, all right.
I'm good there. All we got our
You all
meeting
right
in
with
the
that,
morning.
Clint?
So the 13th meeting with the planning commission, we're here, is that what we're talking?
Probably in the courtroom. Yeah, see if it's, we could do it in here, but just a workshop.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Or the 14th would work in the afternoon.
13th through 14th, either day is fine.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm good with all those, I can,
Thursday it probably isn't, because that's court day. Generally on the
13th might be better. Do you want to follow up on that with them and
yes, can I borrow your pen?
Yeah, what they can do.
just indicate to them that we'd offered a joint workshop so we could just all hear the same information.
And that's, you said that's a Wednesday,
13th is a Wednesday, yeah.
and you guys, 4:30 is okay with you?
Mhm.
Morning of the 13th is open.
Afternoon,
They have something going on at 2. And the
okay.
14th is completely.
So we'll be fine at 4:30. We'll be gone anyway, so we just have to remember to talk to them about it.
What time?
4:30
On the 13th.
on the 13th, yeah.
And that's the
That's the
courtroom.
proposed date.
She said they had something going on at 2, so I'm assuming they'll be out by then.
I would think so, yeah.
So 13th or 14th. afternoon, or
So we're currently looking at the 13th at 4:30 in the courtroom. And I will pose that to planning commission.
Okay.
And I'll just copy you all into that email so that you guys can see any discussion.
And I would guess an alternate date would be the same time on the 14th if we needed it.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
welcome.
Thank you for
Hang in there.
hanging in
We're trying.
This too will
Thanks,
end.
Ken. Oh, yes. Thanks, Kevin.
I would entertain a quick break, sir.
There's a fire back.
2 or 3 minutes.
Definitely, and I
Yes.
have one that I may.
Dorothy, we'll take a short break.
That I was dealing with.
4:30.
Yes. I received a message from them saying, we did our inspection, but I have never.
So I will call a recess for,
Email.
One of us already on recess. Thank you.
I want All right, this is Kevin Day, Board of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. I will reconvene this meeting on 7/5/2022 at 10:37 a.m. Next item would be our Custer County recycling. Did you want to speak to that just a hair? Tom?
Can, yes, sir. The next magic date is July 11th. That's when the baler is scheduled to be freighted in here from Florida. Made arrangements with a crane to offload that, and then Altitude Recycling, who is our vendor for that whole project, is scheduled to come in and do the training on the 13th. And I think Brian told me he had made arrangements with the electrician to come in on the 12th and wire that baler up, so it'll be ready to go.
What day is it coming?
Coming on the 11th. Yeah, supposed to be wired on the 12th. Same with the overhead doors. They're supposed to come and set the limits on those overhead doors that week. Or maybe prior to, depending on their schedule. Fruch overhead door out of Pueblo. And then Kathy Leary is supposed to be back in the country on the 13th for that training. She actually comes in on the 12th, so she'll be here for that training. And got a few other signs to get hung up on the building, but I think other than that, the culvert is installed out at the north collection area. And so we're not going to move those trailers out there until we know we're ready to start baling. We don't want to get the cart before the horse. So kind of holding off on that. But so I think things are rolling along pretty good there. I think we're good with most all of our submissions for reimbursement requests, correct, Dorothy?
Yes.
So we should be getting that money back. The one exception, of course, is the final payment on the baler, but we got an extension on that grant, an option letter on that grant through July 2023, I believe is the date I read. So we got some breathing room there. We won't need that much time because we'll hand the check to Altitude Recycling the day the baler's here. So we should wrap that up by August sometime, I would think, that grant cleared up. So things are going good. I think Road and Bridge is going to drop a couple belly dumps of road base out there on the west side of that building where people will be driving. Brian and Vince have been working on that. That's just what Brian told me. I don't know. So of course, culvert's in out there, so we're in good shape at the recycling center.
Can I ask a question? We've had a couple of people ask in my office about when they're gonna open.
Right. I'm assuming then on the following Monday, like probably the 18th, but.
So they're not gonna open until the baler's there.
Correct. Yeah.
Even for other stuff.
We're worried about getting inundated with other stuff and then not being able to do anything with it.
Okay.
That date hasn't been set in stone, but I'm assuming they wanted to open as soon as they could after that baler.
That's kind of what I told them, because I thought they were waiting.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to do some trial runs on that baler, train volunteers on it, and everything, a little time there. Granted, we could open the windows on the recycling center, but if we start piling cardboard in that building and we're not quite ready to bail, because they figure they'll bail cardboard every day. So we want to make sure we have our ducks in a row before we officially do that opening. And then I think the open house for Custer County Recycled is scheduled for the 23rd. I believe that's going to run from 10 to noon. I had mentioned, gentlemen, once before that we may want to dedicate that building to an individual and have that as a surprise. That would probably occur on the 23rd. If I can address that via an email or whatever. or we could do it and then I could come and ask for ratification of that, or however you guys would prefer to handle that, but they did kind of want to keep it as a surprise.
I think I did respond back to that email. If I have not, send me another one. I don't think I would have a problem with that. I thought I might add one word to what you had suggested, but not a sticky point.
Yeah. Yeah, that members of that committee approached me and they thought an established date at the bottom of the sign, so we knew when that whole recycling center started. So anyway, we'll move forward.
Okay,
I don't know why Bob McDonald sent my personal cell phone to his airport.
I sent it to all of us, I think.
That's all I have on the recycling. I just wondered if there was something, he said he needs authorization to get a full load of fuel. Wow. That's why he sent it today instead of tomorrow, I'm assuming. So I don't know if you want to deal with that. I can read you this if you want. We can deal with it later on. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
we'll catch it after our other business probably. I don't have it there. So. Okay. Any unfinished business, gentlemen?
For me.
No.
Okay, new business. We have, first up, we have consideration of the Wet Mountain Fire Protection District renovation plans. That would be you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you?
Good, yourself?
Good.
Good.
Doing well. Thank you.
Good.
You're up.
Oh, yeah, here we go. All right, so I'm not sure if you guys have heard, we're in the realm of adding a second story of our big training room at the main station here in town. Or it's gonna be kind of bunk rooms for like future living quarters. If we ever do become a paid department, and also for EOC purposes. And one of the issues we ran into was an egress going out the north end of the building from that second story. And also an egress on the north end from the first floor. And we've tossed it around with our engineer, and the closest we can stay to the building with a staircase or anything is gonna be about 16 inches from the property line that borders the county yard there. And so we're looking for a variance, you guys to consider a variance, and if so, give us something in writing for if there's any future problems or anything to be that close to their yard.
You're talking about on the north side of the building?
Yes, sir.
Whereabouts from where the building corners are we looking here for that?
It'll be on the back side,
You have
and
this scheme 3 drawing. Is that what you're looking at?
I'm looking at the
Looking
scheme
at it.
5. I can show you my. Oh, you guys got that.
Scheme 3 doesn't show you
No,
any.
sorry, they're all scheme 3.
I
Sorry.
don't show you.
Yeah, I can kind
You're
of show
looking
you
at
on
this
the.
one, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I got that one also. It's gonna be almost halfway, the halfway point on that back side of our. That's the bigger.
So that's why you're here. You're thinking you're gonna be encroaching on the property lines of the county.
Yeah,
I
we
was
won't be
wondering why
at
this-
it, but
Not a county issue other than that particularly.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, and we just,
Well, you're already, the building that exists is how close without that,
it was about like 15 feet, I think.
which is already a waiver, or I mean, it's already
Yeah,
there. Must have been some agreement.
yeah, I think back then it might have just been a verbal
I
agreement.
don't know.
I don't think we've found anything on that, and that's kind of why we're coming to you guys with this, to hopefully get something in writing. So if issue does ever arise,
Was there a county survey?
I'm not sure if the county
Kids
surveyed.
Or somebody?
Our engineer had some surveyors and
JD didn't have anything up there.
We have a copy of it. So.
copy of that.
That's out of the last thing. But didn't talk to it.
Have you talked with Road and Bridge?
Roger Squire, he's also another board member. He was gonna meet with Vince and make
But
sure that.
you're not gonna
Vince is okay.
encroach on county property, you're just gonna
Get
get
within
this
6
closer
inches.
to the,
Yeah.
yeah, so it really doesn't. have anything to do with
Yeah,
it.
and
How close is it? It's 6 inches away or is it?
We're gonna do
another
about
6?
roughly 16 inches.
16.
Can we look at
Yeah.
that? diagram that you
Well,
just
sure doesn't
showed?
look like that.
Yeah.
And that's with the,
full
that's with the exit
upstairs. Oh, sorry.
door. So that's gonna be an enclosed door.
Yeah, being
It
on the
looked as
north
though like
face.
there was a kind of a doghouse there with the door.
Yeah,
So the outside wall of that will be 16 inches
to the county.
to the county
Yeah.
fence.
You're
Yes.
already really.
So you've actually got
Okay,
5 or 6 foot between the building itself when you come out that door and the fence. So
yeah,
you guys aren't trying to shoot me down a 16-inch.
yeah, and we'd thrown around different ideas and that's the best idea we could come up with it being on the north face, winter time and everything is doing something enclosed.
So this is the area you're talking about back here. There's
Yes.
no directional orientation on this drawing, which is a little weird, but this, I'm assuming, is north.
Yes,
It's this stairway that will
yes,
that
that
will probably
would be the
get
one.
too close to the property line.
Yeah, the outside wall of that.
Clint,
16.
we don't do variances.
No, and
Should be a.
I'm not sure, it's a variance is for the property it's on. And this is not gonna be on the county property at all. So I don't see
Yeah,
why the county needs to do anything on this.
I don't think.
I mean, as far as creeping closer to the property line as county commissioner, I don't care about that, but that's not in our realm. That's gonna be town of Westcliff.
Right, and I mean, it's gonna be a necessity to actually enter onto the county land for anything when you're using this.
No,
I mean, because if that's the case, we can just give them an easement to
Right.
use that if it was
And there's not
necessary.
a fence there, right? The back of the firehouse is the dividing,
no.
yeah, so.
So it's, yeah, it would really be county, whatever their planning and zoning is to get their authorization. to
I don't think
be-
it's
County or town?
Or, I'm sorry, the
Town.
town, their
Okay.
authorization.
Town good with it? You already talked to them?
We haven't
your
talked with the
modification.
town yet. We're
It's
just.
like their height. I mean, they got after, who were they after that were doing, that was their fair board. got in
Okay.
Trouble because they started modifying the barn, it's still a city problem.
Yeah,
And they had to stop until they proved that it would meet the code. If
okay,
you're gonna have to do that, you ought to look at them
okay,
really soon.
yeah, yeah. And the
Well,
bump
this
out,
is an
it's,
emergency egress, right? This isn't day to day.
yeah, it's just something that the engineers, it's code, I guess.
Yeah, I certainly would support it, but I don't think we're gonna have anything to say about it, I think.
I mean, if there was some reason they actually needed to enter onto the county property a little bit, and you could do that with an easement.
And then if city of Westcliff needed a letter from the neighboring landowners, which would be us then,
Okay,
I think then we would be able to furnish you with a letter
okay,
stating that.
Yeah, that's the property line.
I would ask, I don't know, Bill and Tom, if they would be willing to support something like that today, so that you would have a letter in hand when you approach the city.
It doesn't affect us. We can say it. It's no
Okay.
issue for them.
yeah, I think our biggest worry was it being, getting that close to the county's land. I guess we kind of figured it'd be up to you guys on if you're okay with us getting that encroaching on county land.
So,
Well, and you actually aren't gonna encroach on county property, right?
Yeah, no,
Based on the county boundary line, it looks like you're gonna be inside of that. but-
Yeah,
It's no
It's the
issue. And Kevin had a good
proximity to that.
idea, you know, if we want to write it, we can just say we don't have an issue.
okay.
Yeah, would you guys want to go ahead and give them a
I think
letter of
it'd be
support at this time?
Leverage for them to go to the town with, don't you guys?
Yeah, that'd be great if you guys be willing to do that for us.
I'd move we draft a letter indicating we have no problem with the proximity of the egress stairwell to county property.
I would second that.
Oh, nice.
I gotta get in there once in a
Going.
while. I was actually gonna make the motion that you beat me to.
Oh,
You guys sound like our board.
I'll let
Everybody's fighting for the
Yeah.
motion.
Mr. Candy get back before we vote on that.
I don't need a text.
well, you get to write the letter, we should get to make the motion.
I think Dorothy will write the letter for us.
Wait a minute,
Huh?
we're not authorizing Dorothy, we're authorizing you.
I will sign said letter.
It's a good delegation.
Okay, we do have a motion on the floor to provide a letter to Wet Mountain Fire stating that we have no problems with them.
Within the proximity of the boundary, they're not gonna encroach, it doesn't
Yes,
look like.
so we have no problem with their planned
No current issue. with the current.
egress from their addition to the building. And
I would say with respect to the property boundary, because that's what they're asking.
with respect to the property boundary. And part of the discussion is, I think I would ask if Dorothy would be able to write that letter, and I would sign said letter. And so that we could get that. If we had it by tomorrow, would be wonderful. I can sign it tomorrow.
That is a great approach, that's a great plan.
And it's always nice to ask. So any other discussion on that?
None here.
No, I would just make a comment that I think it's gonna be the town of Westfield that might say so.
Okay.
But with our support, maybe it'll help.
Appreciate it.
Otherwise, you have to just put a pole out there, I guess.
Yeah. I already got them to move our existing one, so we don't have to get rid of it.
And there's no way you can move that egress down so it'd be further away from that property line. I'm thinking about down here.
Well, we
If it
got
becomes
just
an
the,
issue.
yeah, the slope of the ceiling and everything right there, and it being right at that corner. I think it was a framing issue.
Gotcha.
And with where it sets right in the middle. So in our big training room that's currently there, that egress sets right in the middle, because they're gonna have to do, they're free spanning one side, but they're gonna have to add a barrier to the other side. The top's gonna look the same, the organization closets, crew quarters are gonna be that side, and the EOC is gonna be on the other, so they have that right, that emergency exit right dab in the center there. That's why it's that curved spot.
Okay, well, go ahead.
No, it's fine. I'm sorry, I'd be out of order.
Those in favor then of providing a letter to Wet Mountain Fire signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Maybe it wouldn't have been out of order. I was gonna ask a question about this egress tower. Is that on the north side or the south side of the building?
There's gonna be one on both ends. One's
So we're not
for,
just talking about a stairway, we're talking about an enclosed
yeah,
stairway.
being on the north
On the north.
side, enclose it for weather purposes.
Got him. Unless you want to sled down.
Yeah, we have a new board member, Clint Sealing, and he's dealt with a lot of the north facing problems. So that was one of his ideas, was placing it in. So,
North side is not an easy side to deal with.
no.
Certain
Here
areas.
anywhere.
All right, well, thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, you bet. Good luck with the town.
Yeah,
Good
appreciate
job.
it. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
Sorry
Yeah, have a good day.
Good to see you. First of all, okay.
Everything's going great. Baby's on oxygen, but she's home and wife's doing good, so life is awesome.
Good, good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Ruth is
Thank
keeping us informed down there.
What's
I
that?
said Ruth is keeping us informed down there.
It's all good. See you guys.
They're gonna have much of a challenge.
Who was the guy that was sitting up there talking?
Jason Coleman,
Jeremiah.
or Jeremiah, sorry,
Jeremiah.
Jay's.
I did not know. All I knew was Jay.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it is.
There is a Jason, just doesn't have to be this.
They're all J's.
Yeah.
Okay, next item up is consideration of changing commissioners on the Upper Arkansas Valley seat.
Technically, it's the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District. See,
Yes, indeed, and I believe everyone has seen that letter from them. You had it last over there, Bill, the other day.
Yeah, I didn't keep it. I don't know where it is.
I did find it, and I guess I stuck it in my box. So the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District has asked that we appoint a different commissioner as ex officio representative to the water district. And we've all seen the letter from them. So discussion on that.
well, I think Mr. Cinderhoff's whining to them about what a horrible board county commissioner meeting member I am, so I'm sure that's what is behind it. So I would welcome one of you two gentlemen to represent us, setting those meetings.
I did do it for a short time, a couple of months, I guess, but
I would volunteer to do it. I've been there several times and I'm working with the water stuff quite often. I'd be happy to do it.
I would be happy to allow you to do
And I'd be
that.
happy to have you come when I can't.
I would do that. So a couple times I was there. Well, once wasn't very informative. Once was a little more informative. They dealt with a little more
Yeah,
stuff.
they do that.
Depends. I did hear they serve food, but I never have seen it.
I've never seen them serve food. They serve
I've been on it
popcorn.
for 4 years,
They-
4.5 years.
Who said they serve food?
Oh, I thought I heard that from.
I heard popcorn and sometimes their popcorn isn't there.
So I would entertain, well, I guess I would move then that we appoint Bill Kanda as the representative from the Custer County Board of Commissioners on the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District.
Second,
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to appoint Bill Kanda as our representative to Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Happy to do it.
no.
All
Great.
right, none here. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any additional items of business today?
Yes. Old Bob McDonald says need authorization to get a full load of AV fuel, sold 2,600 gallons in the last week or so. Almost out, only 200 gallons left in the tank. Can't buy a split load until September. Options are close the pump for the summer or get a full load. Price is $6.28 a gallon. Load is 8,000 gallons.
And he needs authorization because they don't have the money. What's the
Yeah,
deal?
they're upside
You're
down.
upside down right now. Well, they're behind because of the way it's been billed.
Much per gallon? was it?
628.
628.
So how much money did they say they had?
They're in the red. I don't think they have any.
Well,
according to Brady, but shouldn't.
well, it's how they were recording it is what I thought the issue was too. They were billing it before they had it. I don't know.
Oh,
So we'd be looking at $17,000.
do you suppose Braden would be handy?
I was
Dorothy?
just gonna say.
Yeah, let's get Braden over here.
Could we reach out to Braden and see if he could come over?
Tell him it's about the airport, so he brings the right stuff. It's about how they're billed, how much money they got, how much they're in the red, when can we get it back, all that kind of stuff.
I hate to not sell fuel.
We got to sell fuel.
Going backwards, but-
I think we need to know how we do it though.
Yeah, where the
That's
money
why I
comes
see where the
from.
money's coming from.
Requesting Braden, if possible, they'd like an update on the airport financials. Okay, thank you. Bye.
So he's gonna come over. He must have been listening. Oh, what?
Happy birthday to you.
So I don't know.
Okay.
So like.
Or the things you don't mention.
I need to put your name
Well,
right
I have a peanut there.
My father. My father.
My dad.
Making a small talk with a gal
Is that for here? That
from
from
holiday.
Taking it to the fair.
Oh, he's not a guy. He said, so when is the baby?
Box of rags.
She wasn't.
Buy a box of
He
rags.
said he had to stumble.
That's a tough one.
Never ever.
First Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, I was never told to begin with, like when Gwen left, she never told me when you were or anything. So,
No excuse. No excuse.
no excuse.
Try to make it to the next one, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, we thought you might be busy getting ready for fair. And all
Fair and
that.
everything.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's really my.
You got any
report.
problems? You got a major problem, you can bring it up right now.
Hopefully the
I
barn will
don't
be
think so,
done.
yeah.
Okay.
Hopefully our barn will be done.
Looks like you got
So-
through that mess then.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that's basically my report is just been getting ready for fair and.
It's coming up like next week.
It starts on Saturday. So, yeah,
Judges, all right.
judges are good. We got all our judges, so. Yeah.
We like that.
Oh, yeah.
So we gotta buy fuel.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
guys.
We'll see you next
How are
week.
we gonna do it?
Okay.
All right.
Well, we have a request to authorize the
Hello.
purchase.
Request to authorize the purchase of fuel.
Yes.
You want to read this?
That would probably be the easiest way to fill him in on what's happening.
This is from Bob McDonald.
Great question.
Yeah.
Well, you're aware that they've always been you had the problem, we're running in the red all the time, because when they buy it, when they bill it.
Right.
When we get the money.
Mhm.
So that part of the issue is where are we, if they weren't gonna buy any more fuel, where are we actually with how much money would they have? Because they've sold everything out of that last load. And then how much do we really need to have them? Actually, that's where, if we're gonna spend $17,000, what's the difference? Where does that come from? Is there some way we can't we don't want to shut down. If we have to, we will. Selling fuel for the summer. This is when they fly.
Mhm.
So that's the issue.
Yeah.
Stuttering back here.
And you need time to think about it. We don't have to authorize it right this minute.
In the past, and I think we've talked about this before, but I don't remember. In the past, whenever they needed to buy a load of fuel, we would do a transfer.
Mhm.
But when CIC started,
Mhm.
for some reason, we stopped doing that, and I don't know why. We haven't done a transfer for fuel
Right.
for a while. So, and I think Tom brought up at one point, why doesn't that just get budgeted into
Right.
there instead of doing a transfer?
Right.
But in the past, that's how we've done it, is with the transfer,
Yeah,
which
Out of
you're
general
doing now is budget resolution.
yeah,
If that helps any.
yeah,
So, and it would have to be with dollars we already have dollars.
right.
And we know that they will sell it and make it back.
Hmm.
But right now, that total cost is whatever you see there, 17 grand.
Yeah, I've got to do some figuring on that.
Can you do it before tomorrow? So we can decide to do it tomorrow? We don't have to make that decision now. This is just a request.
Yeah, we could deal with it mid-month. We had
Yeah,
to.
could do that even.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. They've only got 200 gallons left. So.
The way I understood that is they wouldn't be able to get it shipped until September anyway.
That's right. So they got an opportunity. That was the split load.
No, if we don't authorize it, then they won't get fuel until September.
Right.
Oh, this would be, okay,
Because it's a full load.
yeah. Would not look very good at this air fest that they're putting a lot of money into to
Nobody
not
can
have
come.
fuel.
We got it.
Yeah. So certainly understand the urgency.
The big question is really where would the money come from?
Mhm.
For that.
If they sold 2,600 gallons in the last week or so at $6 a gallon, I'm assuming they're going to deposit 12 grand.
Well, and would be my assumption. That was going to be my next question is I don't know how much they've been charging for fuel recently. I know there's a report that comes in that I see every once in a while that's from it's from an online company saying this is what we have our fuel priced at. I know that was less than unleaded.
They've got it.
So-
So they know exactly what they charge. And I think it was in the 5-something range because they wanted to keep it there for this load.
Mm,
Then change it depending on what this new one is. But
yeah,
yeah, they'll get that from them.
So my thought was we should have some revenue from them on this last 2,600 gallons to help offset that $17,000 expense. If they're, he told us last
He
month
did.
what they sold it for, and he'll tell us again tomorrow.
What he should have done is shot you the note, said, here's what we gotta do, and could have brought it up. But it's good that he did it now because we can at least put it on the agenda and vote on.
yeah. Yeah. Okay, yep, I'll look into it. Where did we get it?
Yeah, I suppose we could. It's not really capital outlay. How stringent the parameters are on that account. But the big issue is wherever we take it from, we just have to make sure that's where the money goes back in when they sell the fuel and not back into their fuel account.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. I'll have something for tomorrow.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I will.
Thank
let
you
know.
again.
This time, thanks for the ask.
We'll try not to call you back today.
That sounds good.
Mr. Heck, yes.
All righty. Okay, do we need to try to put that on the end of our agenda for tomorrow? Or
So, yeah.
if we could get an agenda for tomorrow as quick as possible with consideration of fuel purchase for airport. Last item on the agenda, please.
Get it posted today. Now,
And I'm okay, even though it's not 24 hours.
it is.
It will be
There.
when we act on this item.
Okay.
And it's an emergency thing. We can do it anyway. Side.
Any other additional items of business?
And
Not seeing anything here. Public comment. If anyone has any comments they would like to make at this time, feel free to do so. Not seeing any hands raised. Okay, seeing none, I will adjourn this meeting at 11:11 a.m.